Welcome to the Too Busy to Eat show. I'm Greg Zuffalato. I'm the host of this show, and I'm also the founder of Too Busy to Eat, the nutrition product company. We started with nutrition protein bars, the Too Busy to Eat bar. We also have other products. So I want you to encourage you to go to toobusytoeat.com, use the coupon code TBTE show. TBTE show. Doesn't matter. It can be capital, lowercase, doesn't matter. Use that in a discount box to get 20% off of anything on our website. So I encourage you to go there. Great products for people that are on the go. They need something fast, healthy to grab and go and to get your protein in. And it's all the products are low carbohydrate and made out of the best ingredients. So can't go wrong. So check it out. Now, for our guest today, Maria Emmerich. She is a fascinating nutrition expert, author. She has a international best-selling book called the Ketogenic Cookbook. She's written numerous cookbooks. She's written 8 other cookbooks besides that international best-selling one. She's written 3 nutritional guidebooks. She is just obviously a prolific writer and also does nutrition counseling for people all over the world. She's really helping people change lives, and she has some simple ways to make this complex nutrition world make it realistic within her cookbooks and her advice on how to make a lifestyle out of this low-carb, ketogenic eating. So, great interview. She's a wonderful person, so get ready to be entertained and informed. Well, welcome, Maria. I'm so excited you've taken the time to be on the Too Busy to Eat show.
Oh, I'm honored to be here, and I'm ready to talk your ear off.
Yes, I love it. Because I really and I'm sure everybody likes to listen to my guests more than me. So this is going to be a fantastic interview. Yeah. So when you've done a lot, you've written a lot. I know your background because I've read about you, researched you. That's why I asked you on the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about where you started and how you got to where you are today?
Well, I have the typical story where I grew up the heavy kid in school. I can even remember who it was saying "fat girl in a little coat" to me in the library. But it all makes you who you are today, right?
Right.
But I was always an athlete. I was always a marathon runner. But when I would train for marathons, I would gain weight. And I still hear that from people all the time. But I went to school for exercise physiology because I just loved working out and the whole idea of that. But then I added in nutrition. However, when I graduated, we decided to start adopting children. And I was a rock climbing guide at that moment. But man, just with everybody else's downturn of the economic downturn, my husband lost his job, and I was blessed to have these people in my life that said, I want a nutritionist on our staff, and we want you to do that. And I was like, oh man, okay. All right. But it was a blessing in disguise. I started writing about, low carb ketogenic type diets at that point. And it was more because someone said, I would like to just learn more. Why don't you write a book or, cookbooks, and you could help raise money for your adoption?
Oh,
because,
wow.
I just thought that was, that's a pretty good idea. So I started doing that, and it's all come, our whole life is totally different. We now have, a 6 and a 7-year-old that they came in to wave to you earlier.
Oh, yes. That was great. Yeah.
So we homeschool them, and but our life is just 100% different. And I'm just blessed to have people like you pass on our information.
That is wonderful. Now, so how long ago was that when you started doing your writing? I mean, and then once you adopted, you have a 6 or 7-year-old. How old were they when you adopted them?
Well, it was just a baby and a 2.5-year-old. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yes.
And so what year was it? It was over a decade ago that, we just started, I started the nutrition business and, low carb was more, the key term at that point.
Yeah, right.
But as I would make meal plans and, work with clients, I would get really frustrated when someone wouldn't totally feel like I wanted them to.
Right.
But then instead of, like a chicken breast and steamed broccoli, realizing that we need to change the macros quite a bit. Because even in, a typical college setting where they teach you the 7 to 11 grains and stuff, we did learn about the synthesis of where too much protein is going to turn into sugar also. So really needed to dive down into getting the perfect macros for someone's body. Everybody's very different when it comes to protein. Like, that.
Yes.
Someone where in the past I couldn't handle a lot of protein. Right. I was so sensitive to carbohydrates. I had PCOS, all of those things.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But now, I work out all the time. I lift a lot of heavy weights. I can handle a lot more protein than I could 10 years ago.
Right.
So, it all changes with time. But, that's where just learning and remembering all those things that were really important to get into a proper, not a low carb, but more of a ketogenic type.
Right. So you were, 10 years ago, the low carb, definitely ketogenic. That's early on in that kind of movement, because it's very popular now, but.
Right. 10 years ago, when I would talk about, ketogenic diets, my parents looked at me like I was the craziest in the world. And I was like, I said, that's what's working for people.
Right,
and they called me extreme. And now I think that the typical American diet is extreme to me.
Yes,
that's freaky. The chemicals and stuff that we're pumping into our bodies are things that they're never going to recognize. This is such new food that we just need to get back to nature.
Absolutely. Yeah. And away from the high processed sugary foods that dominate, America's diet or the world's diet,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's proven pretty drastically not to be working, because our obesity, type 2 diabetes epidemic, not even just across our country, across the world. It's just,
I'm having a surprisingly high number of clients from India, a lot of Asian countries, because, it's known as the Asian paradox, where they eat a lot of rice, but they also are known to have a lot of diabetes. I work with diabetics that actually tell me that they wish that they would gain weight when they cheated, just because that would, we're a vain society.
Yeah, right.
That would help them stay on the diet. But one particular client, she has type 1 diabetes, and she's in her 20s. She just had a baby and she's having strokes.
Oh my gosh.
And her A1C when I first started with her was 11.6.
Okay.
It's in the, it's in the 5 range. If she stays on the diet with me, A1C is a sign of how much inflammation is going on.
Okay.
But, she was having strokes, and she just said, I wish that I would gain weight when I cheated, because it would help me stay on it. Because she doesn't gain a pound. And it's like, yes, you can be skinny and diabetic, Inflammation can't happen anywhere.
Yes. And you can, that's amazing. Well, now, so what do you do, when you say clients, are they more, you do nutrition counseling for people through your website, right? They find you at mariamindbodyhealth.com, and and you just help them, walk them through. What does it look for a typical client that comes to you?
A lot of times, right now I'm so busy, I only do phone or Skype.
Yes. Right.
I used to do it in my office, but it's just, it just works so much better, but it works really well this way. Obviously, it's like we're sitting together anyway, right?
Yeah, right.
So, I kind of lead it with, before we meet, right away, I send you this health appraisal that gives you hundreds of questions to help me understand what's going on before we even talk on the phone. And then we talk for an hour, and I ask what your diet is, if you're on any supplements or medications. And I would say that 100% of people that I talk to, a lot of them say, I'm on a ketogenic diet. 100% I would never eat that way. It's not ketogenic to me. It's not.
Right.
But that's what's great, is I can help you understand.
Sure.
They're doing a lot of nuts and dairy and chia and flax and avocados and all of these things that are pushed as really healthy, but are most likely holding you back from your goals.
Right. That's so you help them get into that ketogenic range with the proper foods, and get them into that low carb eating lifestyle. And then on the side, I know your background, you've done a lot of things in the cookbook world to where you can help people realistically get, because a lot of times there's a gap between what you should do and actually doing it. And the how-to is really what's the problem. And so you've done that too.
I just spoke at the Low-Carb Breckenridge where there's, the top medical doctors in this field, they understand the science and they gave great presentations, but none of them cook and none of them understand food. And so their idea is to grill a steak or, not even that far,
Right.
Where, they had me speak on how I do it with my family.
Right.
And, we still have burger night and we still have pizza night and we still have lasagna night. We just do it a little bit differently.
Right.
And,
right.
How to, I'm really busy. I don't have time to cook every day. Right. And how realistically you can do that too, as being really busy parents, whatever, we all have, some people really don't like to cook. And then I tell you to get that slow cooker out and let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah. That's a realistic way of carrying it through. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. My husband's awesome. He helps clean up dinner.
Yeah.
Well, I prepare dinner for the next night. My mom is awesome. So don't think I'm talking bad about my mom. However, when I was in kindergarten, I remember her picking me up from school and being like, I don't know what we're having for dinner. And I could feel her anxiety.
Yes. Yes.
And, we all learned from our parents. And something that I learned was that I have enough things I need to worry about during the day. I'm going to plan, my meals for the following night. So whether it be, if I'm doing a slow cooker, I'm going to fill that up and put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
And so all I have to do in the morning is take it out and turn it on.
That's great. Yeah.
So different things that can save me from, whether it be anxiety or just all of that type of stuff, just helps so much.
Absolutely. That is, that's fantastic. And so, I'm fascinated. So selfishly, I'm like, okay, this is right along the lines of what I want to hear. Cause I'm thinking, I have 2 kids. We have, you did a Keto Kids cookbook. Yeah. What are some of the key things that you found? Because our kids, they still crave all the sugary things because they're exposed to it in other families, other environments, school. Yeah. What is you've seen success? First, what do you see success in getting your kids to eat the way they should in that healthy low carb eating, and then so first there, how do you get your kids that way to that point?
Well, they don't have a driver's license and they don't have money. No, they eat what is in the house.
Right.
I understand, school and all of that. They're bombarded with different things, but when they're at home, they're in our environment. We also homeschool, but I understand there's other times that they're with other people.
Right.
I will say that we were on a flight to Hawaii about 2 months ago, and I left to use the restroom, and my son told the flight attendant that he was thirsty, and she brought him a Sprite without me knowing it. And as soon as I sat down, he threw up all over me because he never had sugar. Like, he doesn't know what that is. And I think that, we had a really great conversation about how we felt at that moment.
Right.
And why we don't do sugar in our house. And even now he'll say, is that going to give me a tummy ache?
Right.
And so I think a lot of times we have to realize, how is food fueling us? Like, they're really active boys. They love, karate and all of their activities and football. And, they want to feel awesome. And I can tell you, like, they can run with me like no other. They're typical Ethiopians. They're fantastic.
Right. That's awesome.
I love to, I still love food just like I did when I was a heavy kid. So I just recreate those things. Like I have, awesome waffle recipes and, I just, everything that they see, like pizza, I just make it in a different way.
Right.
They love hamburgers, so we just, make them a little bit differently. And they love chili and all of that type of stuff. So it's just, instead of using beans and things like that for their chili, we just do like my paleo type chili.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It takes time, but I think we all make priorities, and having my kids be, healthy is, they were under the growth chart when they first came to the United States. And so that was kind of a big concern for me. So eating them well was important. My baby's first food was bone broth. And I have videos of him just, he did sign language, and this is please. And he would say, please, please, please. Yeah. And it's
that's so cool.
Little tiny baby begging for broth.
Yeah.
You know, so I noticed my older child was 2.5. And so he had, you know, he had a lot of bananas and sugary type foods in Ethiopia, where the baby Kai never did. And so starting him off on broth, he does not have a sweet tooth like my son, Mike.
Right.
Because we started him off on broth, we got him on probiotics right away.
Yeah.
And so getting rid of a lot of those sugary cravings, you know, probiotics help with those sugar cravings. So just, you know, you're in charge of forming your kids. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging.
You're right, though. You're right. Yes. That's,
you know, but, you know, if you start them off as babies, you know, like my kids, they love sardines, and because they started early. If I would start them now on that, they'd be like,
it's a little harder.
No, I'm not doing that. So.
No, we've just got, I think we've done the replacement method over the year. We do really well, and then life gets hectic, and we let up a little bit, and then we get but it is, I mean, we found the same in the sense that, it's, if you control your house. So that's the main, where they're going to, even if they get influenced outside, that's the main place they're going to eat. So you're going to get most of your nutrition that way. So, I'm not
judging people.
No, but it's great. Well, it's great to have an example of somebody that's doing it. I mean, you know, that's, and you have, not only are you doing it yourself, you have resources like your cookbooks. So that'd be great to jump in. You've written a lot. You've done a lot of different, tell me about, so I think you kind of led into that. Your writing started as basically raising money for your adoption. So why don't you take us a little bit through about your book writing?
Yeah. And my mom, I didn't even have a copy of that first cookbook. My mom did, and she gave it to me, and it's like spiral bound. It looks like a basic church book, you know.
Right.
And I just look at it with such a heavy heart, because it totally, it went gangbusters. It really did. And I just think that people were excited to find out that eating healthy doesn't mean that deprivation and salads, and I mean, we rarely even have lettuce at the house. It's just, it doesn't have to be that deprivating steamed broccoli and, you know, all of this stuff that I never liked, and it never kept me satiated. I always cheated on the weekends. I could do it during the week, but Friday came and I did whatever I wanted. Now, I am outside in the kitchen today. I'm getting, I'm doing a restaurant cookbook, remake. And do you know what poutine is?
No.
In Canada, they have French fries, and it has gravy, and it's just like a whole smothered French fry thing.
Yes. Okay. That sounds familiar now. Yeah.
So I'm redoing that, and I'm using the stem of the cauliflower, and it looks just like French fries.
Oh my gosh.
And so, it doesn't have to be deprivation. No. And so, and I'm also doing, it's mushu pork and pancakes.
Yeah.
So, you know, a typical Asian takeout dish.
Yeah.
You know, so those two I was working on today, and, you know, it's just it doesn't have to be deprivation, but, getting back to the cookbooks, my latest book is the 30-day ketogenic cleanse. And, I will make sure you get a copy if you want to do a giveaway of that book, because that one is if anybody is struggling on what a ketogenic diet is, how to do it, that book, my goal is for you that you don't have to hire me. I want you to be able to get a $20 book and I can totally do this, because there's meal plans in there.
Yes.
I call it a cleanse because, I take out dairy and nuts, because those two things hold a lot of people back.
Right. Absolutely.
I also discuss how to heal your mitochondria through, light therapy and grounding and cold therapy, all of these things where it's not just food. Food is a huge part.
Yeah. Right.
But a lot of people overemphasize exercise, which that's in the book too.
Yeah.
However, to this day, if I run marathons, I will gain weight.
Right.
And, there's a lot to when, most people are doing this for weight loss. And when it comes to weight loss, it's all about hormone manipulation. And if you overstimulate cortisol and your adrenals with like that stress, exercise is a stressor.
Absolutely.
It's a great stressor, but too much can be a bad thing.
Right.
I was doing 2 a day. Like I would run in the morning and in the afternoon. I was lifting weights and it was, super crazy. And now I focus on yoga and doing all of these other things. So that book is more about how to heal your mitochondria. And that's where you oxidize fat. Right. And our mitochondria is made up primarily of water, 90% water. Right. And you can negatively or positively charge that water. And you want it to be negatively charged. And so in the book, I talk about all the different steps you can take to get that mitochondria negatively charged and just doing the whole body thing, even talking about the topical chemicals that we're using and that we need to get out because our skin is our largest absorbing organ.
Right.
Anything that you put on your skin is going to go right to your liver. And your liver is where it's kind of a long story, but T4 is converted into the activated T3, the thyroid hormone.
Yeah.
So how efficiently you're burning fat says a lot if your liver's healthy or not.
Right.
So again, Greg, I'm going to talk your ear off here.
No, that's fantastic. But what's really neat about that in that 30-day keto, I mean, it's a holistic approach. It's not people just think food or just think, it's exercise foods, what you put in your body. It's how your liver's functioning. It's a full holistic approach, which is what you really need. I mean, that's.
Yeah. And, it gets overwhelming for some people. Some people like to rip the Band-Aid off and do everything all at once. For me, it was always baby steps. And so it doesn't have to be everything tomorrow. You don't have to do that. But my goal is for that you pick a goal and you change that. Once you accomplish that and you're all set, okay, let's pick a new goal. Let's look through the book and find something else to change and go forth, so it doesn't be overwhelming.
Sure.
And I don't want it to feel like that. I want it to feel like a great lifestyle change and that you feel empowered in the morning to just feel awesome because I didn't always feel this awesome. Yeah. And I don't want people to waste their time in a state of like, man, this isn't me, because that's how I felt.
Yeah. And not living life to its fullest. And when it's achievable, it's not out of everybody's reach,
For sure.
So if you having this, this person that is on the verge of just wanting to make that change, what is the first step you would suggest to somebody that is, they're where you used to be, they're where I used to be, they're not living a full life, their health isn't, whether it's the weight or just how they feel, what would you recommend as a first step towards better health?
The first step would just be, look at your breakfast. If that's, if that's the only thing that you change, let's change breakfast and look at all of the sugar that you're bombarded with, because I guess that maybe was my first big change is, breakfast. I lived on cereal and skim milk as a kid. And sometimes my mom was so busy, we had that for dinner, we'd just switch it up, right?
A different cereal box. Yeah.
But it was even like those so-called healthy cereals like Smart Start or even like Cheerios. When I see a little baby chewing on Cheerios, I'm like, oh my gosh, and skim milk that has more sugar than Reese's peanut butter cups. It's a small little glass that's equivalent to 4 Starbursts. I'd rather have 4 Starbursts.
Yeah, it tastes better. Yeah,
I know. So getting back, but we lived off of skim milk. Just changing your breakfast, I think, could have a really powerful effect on how you feel throughout the day. And just wanting you to stay, like I told you, my son, how bad he felt.
Yes. Yeah.
Get yourself to actually realize how good you can feel and change it that way. And then I guess my next tip would be like, look at every label because things that did not have sugar in it before now do have sugar, such as like even yellow mustard. Yellow mustard didn't have sugar in it, but it does now.
Right.
You go to Trader Joe's and their yellow mustard has sugar in it. And Even salt, you think that salt would be safe, but it says salt and then it says dextrose, which anything with OSE is a sugar.
Right.
It's an anti-caking agent, but still, like, why do we need to have sugar in everything? And even like marinara sauce. I grew up on Prego. And, that stuff, when you open that jar, it stays good in your fridge for a really long time. But if you open up a jar of even something like at Target, you can get Mario Batali.
Right.
There's no sugar in it. He uses olive oil.
Yep.
So if you don't want to make your own, just look at what you're buying for that and changing, the different sauces you use to get rid of the sugar.
Right. That's a fantastic. I mean, really understanding, because both of those, like breakfast really sets your day up. Because if you start it poor, you get the hunger cravings throughout the day. I mean, it's all, and then really understanding labels or not even understanding, is being aware of them, because you're missing out on so many different places where you don't ever can imagine where the sugar would appear, and here it is, in your salt, in your mustard. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was doing, like I told you, the mushu pork and pancakes. I did sesame oil. And I live in a pretty small town, and I went to the store to buy sesame oil. The only option I had also had canola oil in it. Yeah. And if you know anything about how canola oil is made, you never want to touch that. And it's like, really, why do we have to mess with things? Yeah.
It's just, it's a quick buck, a quick cent. I
posted that on social media, and people are like, I would never even think to look at the ingredients. Right. But I guess I'm just so ingrained in that. I always do.
Yeah. Well, this is fantastic. I encourage anybody that needs help in this area, go to mariamindbodyhealth.com. Great place to get a ton of information. And if you want to connect directly to Maria, that's where you go. Maria, I thank you so much for your time. This is fantastic. I can't wait to go through your cookbooks, and you've inspired me. I'm going home. Our house is pretty clean, but it's going to even get cleaner now. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You are fantastic.